Arham had always been the kind of person who found peace in quiet places. While most people his age spent their evenings at cafes, parties, or scrolling endlessly on their phones, he preferred to be alone with the sky. His rooftop was his favorite place in the world. From there, he could see the stars clearly, scattered like tiny silver dots across a deep black blanket. He often wondered what existed beyond those stars, other worlds, other lives, other stories. It was a curiosity he had carried since childhood, but he never imagined that his curiosity would someday bring something extraordinary into his life. One calm night, when the city below was slowing down and people were getting ready to sleep, Arham climbed the stairs to the rooftop with a cup of warm tea in his hand. The air was cool, the sky was clear, and everything felt peaceful. He leaned on the low wall and looked up, admiring the calm beauty above him. For a long moment, he felt as if the stars were quietly watching him back. Then, without warning, the peace of the night shifted. A sharp streak of white light cut across the sky faster, brighter, and closer than any shooting star he had ever seen. Arham straightened immediately. The light didn't fade or break apart like shooting stars normally did. Instead, it grew brighter, almost as if it was coming directly toward him. Before he could even move, the rooftop lit up with a sudden flash. The light was warm, not burning, but bright enough to make him cover his eyes for a moment. His heart raced. 1,000 thoughts came into his mind. Was it a satellite falling? A strange aircraft? Or something else he couldn't understand? When the light finally softened, Arham slowly lowered his hand. His breath caught in his throat. Standing just a few steps away from him was a figure tall, glowing softly, almost like a shape made of gentle light. But within seconds, the glow faded, revealing a person. A woman, or at least, she looked like a woman. Her appearance was calm, peaceful, and unlike anyone he had ever seen. Her skin seemed to reflect the light around her. Her hair flowed softly as if moved by a breeze he couldn't feel, and her eyes, large, bright, and strangely soothing, watched him with curiosity. Not fear. Arham's first instinct should have been to run. But something about her presence stopped him. She didn't look dangerous. She didn't move toward him suddenly. She simply stood there, watching him as if waiting for him to speak first. His voice trembled slightly. Who are you?" For a moment the woman didn't speak. Instead, she touched her fingertips to her neck, and a faint shimmer passed through the air around her, like a quiet vibration. Then she spoke, her voice soft and clear. "I am Sarai." Her words were fluent, yet the tone felt unfamiliar, as if she was using a language she had learned just moments ago. Arham took a small step back, still unsure. "Where are you from?" Sarai tilted her head, almost like she was studying his question. "Not from your world." The words sounded simple, but they carried a meaning too large for Arham to fully grasp in that moment. He stared at her, unable to believe what he was seeing, but also unable to deny it. She didn't look like any human, yet she didn't look frightening. Something about her felt gentle, almost childlike in curiosity. He forced himself to breathe. "Why are you here?" Sarai blinked slowly, as if choosing her words carefully. "I came to understand your kind. Humans." Her answer shocked him more than her presence. She came to understand humans. Why him? Why this rooftop? Why tonight? His mind was racing. She continued speaking before he could ask anything more. "I observed you for many nights," she said calmly. "You look at the sky with peace, with questions. Many humans do not look anymore." He froze. "You watched me." Sarai nodded once. "Yes, not in a harmful way. I meant no disturbance." Her expression remained gentle, and for a moment Arham realized she really didn't have bad intentions. She wasn't hiding anything. She spoke with complete honesty, almost like she didn't know how to lie. Still overwhelmed, Arham sat down on the rooftop floor, trying to calm himself. Sarai watched him with quiet concern and took a slow step closer. Her movements smooth and careful, as if she didn't want to scare him. "Are you afraid?" she asked. Arham let out a nervous laugh. "I don't know. I think I should be, but I'm more confused than afraid." Sarai lowered herself to sit a short distance away from him, leaving enough space to show respect. "Confused is normal," she said gently. "I am also confused. Your world. It is different from mine." Arham looked at her properly for the first time. Her eyes reflected the stars above them, almost as if she carried a piece of the sky inside her. "So you're really not from Earth?" "No," she replied. "But I came in peace." He believed her. He didn't know why, but he did. Something about her honesty and calmness felt real. "What do you want from me?" he asked softly. Sarai looked down at her hands for a moment, then back at him. "I want to understand. You are not loud. You are not afraid of silence. You look at the sky as if it speaks to you. I want to learn from someone like you." Her words surprised him. In his ordinary life, no one ever said anything like that. People rarely noticed him at all. Yet here was an otherworldly being saying she came to learn from him. "Why me?" he whispered. Sarai answered without hesitation. "Because you see the world with calm eyes." Arham felt a strange warmth in his chest. He didn't know how she saw that in him, but hearing it from her felt strangely comforting. For a while, they sat in silence. The night breeze moved gently around them. The stars shimmered above, as if quietly watching this impossible meeting. Arham's fear slowly faded. What replaced it was curiosity deep, genuine curiosity. "Can others see you?" he asked. Sarai shook her head. "Only if I allow them. For now, it is only you." Arham nodded slowly. "And how long will you stay?" She looked up at the sky for a moment, as if listening to something far away. "As long as it is safe. As long as you allow conversation." Her words felt sincere. She wasn't forcing anything. She was simply asking to exist peacefully in his space for a moment. Arham exhaled. "Then you can talk to me." A small, soft smile formed on her lips. It was the first human-like expression she had shown, and it felt warm, like a sunrise. "Thank you," she said softly. For the next hour, Sarai asked him simple questions about music, about food, about why humans laugh, cry, and dream. Some questions were easy, some were surprisingly deep. Arham tried his best to answer. Every answer seemed to fascinate her. Despite the strange situation, he found himself enjoying the conversation. Sarai listened with complete attention, something very few people ever did. As the night grew deeper, her glowing outline returned faintly. She stood up, her form gently brightening. "I must leave now," she said. "But I will return." Arham nodded, still amazed. "Okay. Just don't appear suddenly next time." "You scared me at first?" Sarai gave a soft, amused expression. "I will arrive gently." With a small shimmer of light, she vanished quietly, peacefully leaving Arham, standing alone on the rooftop, staring at the empty space where she had been. His life felt different now. He didn't know what would happen next, but one thing was sure. Nothing would ever be ordinary again. Arham woke up the next morning, feeling strangely restless. The memory of the night before stayed fresh in his mind, almost too clear to be a dream. He kept replaying every moment, the flash of light, Sarai standing on the rooftop, her calm voice, her curious questions. It was all real, yet it felt unreal at the same time. He kept telling himself that he must stay calm, but he couldn't help feeling a mix of excitement and confusion. Throughout the day, he found himself looking up at the sky more than usual, wondering if Sarai was somewhere up there, watching him again. He kept thinking about the way she said she would return. Did she mean tonight, next week, or whenever she felt like it? There was no way for him to know. By evening, Arham felt his heart beating a little faster. He didn't want to seem desperate, but he also couldn't pretend he wasn't waiting. So, just like always, he went up to the rooftop. The sky was clear again, full of stars that blinked softly like tiny floating lanterns. The air felt cool, carrying a quiet promise. He sat down in his usual place, leaning back and letting his thoughts drift. Minutes passed, then an hour. Nothing happened. He began to wonder if maybe she wouldn't come tonight. Maybe her world had rules. Maybe she wasn't allowed to visit too often. He sighed and looked at the sky one last time, and then Without any dramatic flash or sudden glow, a soft shimmer appeared beside him, like a gentle wave of light forming into a shape. This time it didn't startle him. It felt almost peaceful, like a familiar presence arriving quietly. Sarai stood beside him, her expression calm and her eyes warm with curiosity. She looked less glowing tonight, more solid, more human-like, as if she had chosen a softer form so he wouldn't feel startled. "You came back?" Arham said softly. "I said I would," she replied, sitting down beside him with slow, graceful movements. "Did you expect otherwise?" Arham smiled a little. "I wasn't sure." Sarai looked at him thoughtfully. "I do not break promises." There was something so simple and genuine about the way she said it. Arham felt a sense of comfort he couldn't explain. For a moment, they simply sat together in the quiet night. Then Sarai spoke again. "I have many questions," she said. "Can I ask more today?" Arham nodded. "Of course. I'll try my best to answer." Sarai's eyes brightened slightly, as if learning something new excited her deeply. She began with simple questions. Why humans enjoyed music. Why they decorated their homes. Why they smiled even when they were sad. Arham tried to explain everything as clearly as he could, but some things were not easy to describe. Music, he said, is something we feel inside. It can make us happy, or calm, or sometimes even emotional. We listen to it because it touches something in us. Sarai thought for a moment. "On my world, we use sound to communicate, but not to." "Not like you describe." "That's okay," Arham said gently. "Every world is different." She nodded. "Yes, and that is why I want to learn." Her questions grew deeper with time. She asked about human families, the way people love each other, and why humans sometimes hide their true emotions. Why do humans pretend to be fine when they are not? She asked suddenly. Arham paused. Because they don't want to worry others. Or sometimes they don't want people to see their weakness. Sarai looked confused. "But sharing sadness is not weakness." Arham gave a small laugh. "You're right. But humans don't always think that way." Sarai looked at him for a long moment, her eyes studying his expression. "Do you hide your sadness?" Arham blinked in surprise. No one ever asked him that before. Not even people who knew him for years. Yet this being from another world had noticed something about him in just 2 meetings. Sometimes he admitted quietly, "Why?" She asked with genuine concern. He looked up at the stars. "Because life is hard sometimes, and people are busy with their own struggles. I don't want to add mine to anyone else's." Sarai shook her head softly. "Sharing does not add weight. It reduces it." Arham didn't know what to say. Her words felt simple, but they carried a quiet truth. He admired her honesty. As the night went on, Sarai became more relaxed. She watched birds flying across the sky, admired the city lights, and even laughed softly when Arham tried to explain human humor. She tilted her head every time she didn't understand a joke, and her innocent confusion made Arham laugh. "What is the purpose of a joke that makes no sense?" She asked seriously. "That's the point," Arham chuckled. "Sometimes humans laugh because something is silly." She nodded slowly. "Humans are complicated," "Yes," Arham said, smiling. "But that's what makes us interesting." Sarai looked at him again, her expression gentle. "You are interesting." The words made Arham's heart beat a little faster, though he tried not to show it. She didn't mean it romantically. He knew that. She meant it in her honest, curious way. They continued talking for hours. Sarai told him a little about her world, not in detail, but enough to make him understand that her world was peaceful, quiet, and very advanced. Her people communicated easily, without misunderstandings. They valued knowledge and harmony. They didn't have greed or jealousy. Their lives were simple but wise. No conflicts. Arham asked. "No," she said softly. "We learned long ago that conflict destroys more than it creates." Arham sighed. "Humans could learn from that." Sarai looked at him with a soft sadness. "Yes, but I came to learn from you, not to judge your world. Her words touched him deeply. She wasn't here to look down on humans. She genuinely wanted to understand them. Eventually, Sarai asked about human emotions more directly. What does it mean when someone says they care for another? She asked. It means they want the other person to be safe, happy, and not alone, Arham explained. Sarai listened carefully. And what is love? Arham froze for a moment. Answering that felt harder. He searched for the right words. Love, he finally said, is when someone becomes important to you in a way you can't fully explain. When their happiness matters to you, when you feel connected to them, even in silence. Sarai looked down, her expression thoughtful. That sounds powerful, Tiz Arham said, and sometimes scary. Scary. Why? She asked gently. Because you can lose it, Arham admitted. Sarai looked at him with a seriousness he wasn't expecting. Do you fear losing something? He shook his head quickly. No. I just meant in general. She didn't push further. But he sensed she understood more than she showed. The longer they spoke, the more Arham noticed something unique about Hirsch. Didn't judge, interrupt, or assume. She listened with full attention. She valued his every word. Talking to her felt natural, almost peaceful at some point. While they were watching the stars together, Sarai said something that made Arham pause. Arham, she said softly, humans feel so much. You feel joy, sadness, fear, hope, so many things. It is beautiful. No one ever called it beautiful before, he said quietly. Then they did not look closely enough. She replied. They fell into a calm silence again, neither wanting the moment to end. For Arham, it felt like he was talking to someone who truly saw him, someone who understood the things he never spoke about. And for Sarai, she found someone who helped her understand a world she had only observed from a distance. After several hours, yes, Sarai stood up slowly. I must leave now, Arham nodded. Will you come again? She smiled softly. Yes, I still have many questions. And I like talking to you. Arham felt warmth spread through him. I like talking to you too. Sarai gave a gentle nod, and with a shimmer of light, she disappeared once again quietly, gracefully. Leaving him alone with a peaceful feeling he hadn't felt in years, he looked up at the stars and whispered to himself, this is just the beginning. The days that followed felt different for Arham. Life continued in its usual rhythm. He went to work, talked to people, and completed his tasks like a normal person, but in the back of his mind, there was always the quiet excitement that Sarai might appear again. And each night, she did. Sometimes for a short visit, sometimes for long conversations, sometimes just to sit silently beside him and watch the stars. Their connection grew slowly but naturally, without either of them forcing anything. Arham found himself looking forward to her presence. She listened to him like no one had before, and she valued even the smallest things he said. She always came with questions, some simple, some deep, some unexpectedly personal. One calm night, when the rooftop was filled with cool wind and soft starlight, Sarai appeared beside him again. But something felt different about her tonight. Her usual calm expression had a softness in it, something thoughtful, almost emotional. Arham didn't notice it at first, but as they began talking, he sensed that she had something important on her mind. Arham, she said quietly, today I want to ask something different. Arham looked at her with curiosity. Different how? She took a small breath, as if preparing herself. I want to understand something that humans feel strongly about, something that seems very important to you. Arham nodded gently. You can ask anything. Sarai's bright eyes stayed fixed on him. What does it truly mean when humans choose a partner? When they decide to join their life with another? Arham blinked, surprised. He wasn't expecting such a serious question. You mean marriage? Yes, she said softly. Marriage. Arham hesitated for a moment. Explaining marriage to someone from another world was not easy. He searched for the simplest words. Well, he began slowly. Marriage is when two people decide they want to spend their lives together. They promise to support each other, care for each other, and stay loyal. It's a commitment, something serious. Sarai listened closely. So it is more than liking someone, yes, Arham said. Much more. Sarai's expression grew thoughtful again. She lowered her gaze for a moment, then looked back up at him with surprising seriousness. Arham, she said softly, what must I do to marry you, human? The question hit him like a shock. His heart seemed to stop for a second. He stared at her, unsure if he had heard correctly. Sarai didn't look confused. She wasn't joking. She meant every word. What? What did you say? He whispered. Sarai looked directly into his eyes, her voice calm and clear. I asked what I must do to marry you. Arham felt a strange wave of emotion, surprise, confusion, disbelief. He knew Sarai was honest, so she wouldn't say something unless she meant it. But this question, how could he even respond? Sarai, he said slowly, marriage is a human concept. It's something between two people who love each other. I know, she replied softly. I have been learning, and I feel connected to you. You have shown me kindness, patience, and honesty. You listen to me? You do not fear me. These things are rare. Arham shook his head slightly, trying to understand. But you don't fully understand what marriage means. You don't know what life on earth is like. That is why I want to learn, she said calmly. With you? Arham exhaled deeply, trying to think clearly. Sarai, humans don't decide marriage like this. It's not something you choose just because you feel peaceful with someone. It takes time. It takes understanding. It takes living together, facing challenges, and knowing each other deeply. I want that, she said without hesitation. Her voice held no doubt, no confusion. It was simple and sincere. Arham stood up, walking to the edge of the rooftop for a moment, trying to calm his racing thoughts. Sarai watched him quietly, waiting with patience that felt almost painful. Finally, he turned back to her. Sarai, you're asking for something big. Bigger than you understand. If you really want to be with me, you need to come to Earth fully. Not just visit for a few hours. You need to live here, like humans do. Sarai blinked. Live on Earth. Yes, Arham said. Live here. Learn human life. Experience our world. Without your abilities, without your technology protecting you all the time. If you want something as serious as marriage, you need to understand my world completely. Sarai absorbed his words slowly. Her expression did not show doubt, it showed deep concentration, as if she was carefully thinking through every detail. Come to Earth with you, she repeated softly. Is that what you ask? Arham nodded. Yes. Only then will you really know what you're asking for. Sarai closed her eyes for a brief moment. Her entire form softened, her glow growing faint, almost as if she was retreating into deep thought. When she opened her eyes again, they held a new kind of determination. If that is what I must do, she whispered, then I will. Arham's breath caught. Sarai, it's not simple. Earth is chaotic. Humans are emotional. Life is unpredictable. You will face challenges. You will have to hide who you are, and you may have to give up a lot. Then I will face challenges, she said. I will hide. I will give up. If it means I can understand you fully, her sincerity shook him. He wasn't sure what to say. He didn't expect such determination from her. Part of him felt nervous. Part of him felt touched. And part of him felt fear that she might be making a choice too big for her to understand. He spoke again gently. Sarai, why me? She looked at him with a softness he had never seen before. Because you treat me as if I matter. Because you speak to me with respect. Because when I see your world through your words, it feels warm. And because when I am near you, I feel something I cannot explain, but I want to understand. Arham felt his chest tighten. Her words were too pure, too honest. No human had ever spoken to him like that. Sarai, I'm not special, he said quietly. She shook her head. You are special to me. Silence filled the rooftop. A gentle wind passed between them, carrying the weight of the moment. Sarai stood up slowly, her form flickering slightly. I must return to my world. I need time to prepare, to think, to decide. Arham nodded, though his heart felt heavy. Take all the time you need. She stepped closer to him, close enough that he could see tiny shimmering lines in her eyes, like galaxies woven into her gaze. Arham, she said softly, thank you for your honesty. Before he could respond, her body began to glow again. The air around her rippled with gentle light. Slowly, gracefully, she vanished, leaving behind a soft shimmer that faded into the night. Arham stood there alone. Feeling the echo of her presence in the air, he didn't know what decision she would make. He didn't know if she would return. He didn't know if she truly understood the weight of what she had asked, but he knew one thing for certain. His life had changed forever, and whatever happened next would shape everything. The night after Sarai disappeared felt unusually long for Arham. He kept looking at the sky again and again, hoping she would return immediately. But no shimmer appeared, no gentle glow, no soft voice calling his name. The rooftop felt empty without her. It amazed him how quickly a peaceful visitor from another world had become such an important part of his everyday thoughts. He spent the next few days in a strange state of waiting. He went to work, sat with friends, ate his meals, and performed every normal activity. But something inside him remained half awake, listening for her. At night, he went to the rooftop out of habit. Sometimes he stayed for hours, watching the stars and wondering if somewhere in the vast universe, Sarai was thinking about him too. A whole week passed with no sign of her. At first, Arham tried to convince himself that maybe she had changed her mind. Maybe she had realized the difficulties of living on Earth. Maybe her world needed her. Maybe this whole connection was never meant to continue. But even as he tried to calm himself with such thoughts, a quiet ache grew in his chest. Then, on the 8th night, something changed. The sky above him shimmered not brightly, but softly, like a curtain of gentle light falling through the darkness. Arham sat up straight. His heart began to beat faster. The shimmer grew stronger, gathering shape. And within a few seconds, Sarai appeared on the rooftop. But she looked different. Her usual calm expression was still there, but her eyes held a depth that hadn't been there before. She seemed more human in her appearance, as if she had taken a form that matched Earth more closely. Her glow was faint, warm, and comforting. "Sarai," Arham whispered. "You came back." She nodded slowly. "Yes, I needed time. I needed to think deeply about everything you said." Arham studied her face. "And did you decide anything?" Sarai took a seat beside him, leaving only a small space between them. Her posture looked thoughtful and gentle. "I have made my decision," she said softly, "and it is not a light one." Arham's breath caught. He didn't rush her. He let her speak in her own time. "In my world," she continued, "choices are made with logic and harmony. But this choice, this is something different. I am choosing a path that has risks, unknown challenges, and a life far from everything familiar." Arham swallowed hard, unsure what she was building up to. She looked into his eyes, and her voice grew steady. "But I want to come to Earth. Truly come. Fully live here." Arham froze, stunned. "You're sure?" he asked quietly. "Yes," she said without hesitation. "If I am to understand your world, understand you, and understand what marriage truly means, I need to be here. With you." Arham felt a strange warmth spreading through him. Part relief, part disbelief, part something deeper. He nodded slowly. "But coming to Earth is not simple," he said. "You'll face things you've never faced before. Fear, pressure, confusion, human rules, human emotions, human expectations." "I know," she whispered. "And that is why I spent many days preparing myself." "Preparing," Arham repeated. She nodded. "I studied your world's social behaviors. I practiced controlling my energy so I can appear fully human. and I created a way to stay without needing to return frequently. Arham blinked in surprise. You can stay here without going back? Yes, she said gently. For a long time, if needed. He felt his breath deepen. The idea that she was choosing to leave her entire world behind. It felt unreal. Sarai, he said softly, why are you doing so much just for me? Sarai looked down at her hands before answering. Because I feel a connection to you that my world cannot explain. Because I believe our paths crossed for a purpose. Because every moment spent with you teaches me something new, something meaningful. Her voice softened even more. And because, when I imagine my future, you are in it. Arham felt a quiet shock ripple through him. No one had ever spoken to him like that. No one had ever seen him with such sincerity. Sarai, he whispered, coming to Earth means letting go of your world. Yes, she said calmly, but I am ready. A long, gentle silence filled the rooftop. The wind brushed past them. The stars above seemed brighter tonight, as if recognizing the significance of the moment. Finally, Arham exhaled slowly. Then if you truly want to come, I will help you. Sarai smiled softly, her first real smile since returning. I knew you would, she said, but her expression soon became serious again. Arham, there is something else you must understand. If I come to Earth fully, my abilities will be limited. I will appear human. I will feel things more strongly. I will have weaknesses, emotions, and vulnerabilities. Then you'll truly be living a human life. Arham said gently. She nodded. Yes, and I want that. So what happens now? Do you have to prepare more? Do you need permission from your world? Or, I already did everything, Sarai interrupted softly. I did not want to come to you unprepared. I only needed your answer. My answer? Arham repeated. Sarai's voice lowered. Yes, you asked me to come to Earth, but I needed to know if you meant it. If you truly wanted me here, not just in words, but in your heart. Arham felt his chest tighten. He didn't want to rush anything. He didn't want to promise anything without thinking. But he also knew that the thought of her leaving forever made him feel strangely empty, so he spoke honestly. Sarai, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what challenges we'll face, but I do want you here. I want you to experience this world with me. I want us to understand each other fully. So yes, I mean it. Come to Earth with me. Sarai closed her eyes briefly, as if absorbing his words deeply. When she opened them again, they held a gentle glow. Then I will begin the transition, she said. Arham's eyes widened. Transition? Yes, she replied. It is the process of fully taking a human form. It will take some time, but once complete, I will be like your people. Arham took a careful breath. Will it hurt you? No, she said softly, but it will change me. And once it is done, I cannot return to my old life easily. Her voice was calm, but her words carried weight. Arham nodded. If you're sure, I'll stand by you. She smiled again, gently, gratefully. Then I am ready. The air around her began to shimmer lightly, but much softer than before. It wasn't a disappearance, it was a beginning. A soft glow surrounded her, wrapping around her like a gentle veil. Arham, she whispered, thank you for giving me a place in your world. Before he could speak, her form dissolved into a warm ripple of light, not vanishing completely, just becoming faint. As if she moved into another dimension for a moment, Arham stood there, staring at the soft glow that remained in the air. His heart beat steadily. Filled with anticipation, she was really coming. Not as a visitor, not as a mysterious being, but as someone, choosing to live in his world. With him, the rooftop felt different tonight. The air carried a sense of beginning, quiet promise of everything that was about to change. He whispered into the night, his voice steady and full of emotion. I'll be right here when you return. Sarai's first few days on Earth were nothing like she had imagined. Even though she had prepared herself mentally, the real world felt louder, heavier, and faster than anything she had seen from the sky. When she stepped outside for the first time after her return, the noise of cars, The distant sound of children laughing and even the cool wind touching her face felt strange to her senses. But she stayed close to Arham, watching him carefully and copying his behavior so she would not do anything odd. Arham understood that everything around her was new, so he guided her gently. Explaining things one by one, he taught her simple things first: how to walk naturally in public, how to greet people, how to smile at the right time, and how to show politeness. Sarai tried her best, though she often repeated actions again and again until she got them right. She learned how to speak basic words in his language, starting with greetings and small sentences. She kept a small notebook where she wrote down words she heard during the day. At night, she would sit with Arham and practice them. And even though she made mistakes, she laughed at herself instead of getting upset. Arham found this quality beautiful. She was calm, patient, and willing to learn. One afternoon, Arham took her to a small local market. He thought it would help her understand how humans interact with each other. At first, Sarai stayed close to him like a child seeing a city for the first time. People walked past them quickly, talking loudly, bargaining, and laughing. Sarai's eyes kept moving from one direction to another, surprised by every sound and movement. When a shopkeeper greeted them with a friendly smile, Sarai quietly whispered to Arham, asking if she should greet him back. Arham nodded, and Sarai gave an awkward but sweet smile, which made the shopkeeper laugh kindly. She felt encouraged by this positive response. Arham bought some fruit and showed Sarai how to choose good ones. She touched the fruit gently, observing its texture and weight. On her world, food did not grow in the same way, and she found Earth's natural produce fascinating. She asked simple questions like, "Why does this fruit smell sweet?" and "How does this plant grow from the ground?" Arham explained everything with patience, and she listened like a curious student. Through these small moments, she began to understand the beauty of ordinary human life. When they returned home, Arham told her more about Earth's customs. He explained how families work, why people follow traditions, and how relationships are built slowly with mutual trust. Sarai listened carefully, taking every detail seriously. She wanted to adapt not because it was required, but because she wanted to truly belong to his world. She wanted Arham to feel proud of her efforts. The days passed, and with every sunrise, Sarai became a little more comfortable. She learned how to make tea, although she always put too much water in the beginning. She learned how to sit at the dining table properly, how to use simple household items, and how to fold clothes, even though she always folded them in perfect, sharp lines that looked almost machine-made. Arham would smile at her perfection and tease her gently. Calling her the master of neatness, she would respond with a shy smile. Showing that she enjoyed the light jokes, however, not everything was easy. Sometimes she felt overwhelmed. There were nights when her senses became too sensitive because Earth's air, sounds, and environment were very different from her planet. On such nights, Arham would sit beside her quietly, helping her breathe and relax. He would reassure her that she had all the time in the world to adjust. She appreciated these moments deeply because they showed her that Arham cared for her beyond simple curiosity. Sarai also had to hide her true identity from the outside world. Arham told her that revealing who she was could cause panic or create problems. She understood this and agreed to stay low profile. She learned how to dress like humans, choosing simple clothes so she would not draw attention. She practiced keeping her energy calm so that her glowing eyes would look normal. It was difficult, but she did it for their safety and future. As weeks passed, their bond grew stronger. They spent evenings walking together on Arham's rooftop, the same place where they had first met. They talked about everything: her world, his dreams, her fears, and his struggles. She shared stories about her planet's peaceful landscapes and how her people lived in harmony without conflict. Arham told her about his life, his challenges, and how he had always felt alone before she entered his world like a light in the darkness. One night, as they sat under the stars, Sarai looked up and pointed at a glowing dot in the sky the direction of her home. She whispered softly that she sometimes missed her planet, but she did not regret choosing Earth. Arham gently placed his hand over hers, and she felt warmth spread through her fingers. She had never experienced such comfort before meeting him. In that moment, she felt her decision was right. Arham introduced Sarai to two trusted friends he considered like family. He explained to them that she was from a far place and needed help adjusting to life here. They accepted her with kindness, asking harmless questions and making her feel welcome. For Sarai, it was her first experience being part of a small human group, and she felt proud that she was trusted. With time, Sarai learned human expressions so well that she could easily understand when someone was happy, sad, tired, or worried. She learned emotions not through lectures but through real interactions. She discovered that humans show care in small ways, offering water, sharing food, asking about someone's day, simply sitting quietly with them. These small acts touched her heart, and she started doing the same for Aram. One evening, she cooked a simple meal for Aram as a surprise. The food was not perfect, but it was full of effort. Arham appreciated it so much that Sarai felt happier than she had ever felt before. She told him that on her world they express care through energy or shared thoughts. But here she was learning to express care through actions. Arham told her that actions often speak louder than words, and she smiled softly. Understanding the meaning instantly, their relationship grew stronger not because of big events, but because of the everyday moments, holding hands during quiet walks, sharing laughter over small mistakes, talking about dreams, solving challenges together, and trusting each other without fear. Sarai realized that true connection was not about perfection. It was about choosing each other again and again in every situation. As the months passed, Sarai no longer felt like a visitor. She felt like someone who belonged to Earth, at least to Arham's part of it. She learned how to blend in, how to exist peacefully among humans, and how to build a life built on understanding and kindness. Arham, too, felt that his life had transformed. He no longer felt alone, and he saw the world with new eyes, appreciating things he had once taken for granted. The journey was not always easy, but it was beautiful in its own way. Sarai had come from a distant world, ready to give up everything familiar. Arham had opened his heart to someone completely different from his own world. Together, they built something rare and precious, a bridge between two very different lives, held together by patience, effort, and genuine affection. In the end, Sarai understood the meaning of commitment. It was not about grand promises or dramatic declarations. It was about being present, learning, growing, and choosing to stay even when things felt difficult. And Arham understood the meaning of connection. It could come from the most unexpected places. Even from the sky, their story became a silent promise between them. No matter how different their worlds were, they would continue to walk forward together, step by step, building a new life shaped by trust, love, and the courage to choose each other every single day.